The parking lot was a gravel pull-off on a forgotten service road, deep enough in the forest that the cell signal died, and the only sounds were wind in the pines and the distant rumble of geothermal vents from Yellowstone miles away. Sarah and Mike had found it by accident one summer afternoon, scouting for privacy. Now it was their place twice a month, sometimes 3 times, when his wife thought he was fishing, and her husband believed she was visiting her sister in Bozeman. October had stripped the aspens bare. The air smelled of frost and sulfur carried on the wind. They parked nose to nose, so no passing ranger would notice 2 vehicles. Inside Mike's SUV, the windows fogged quickly. Clothes came off in practiced silence. They knew each other's rhythms too well for tenderness. This was hunger, not love. When it was over, they lay tangled under a shared blanket, breathing hard, listening to the quiet. "I've got to piss," Mike muttered, reaching for his jeans on the floorboard. Sarah laughed softly. "Classy as ever." He grinned, kissed her once on the neck, and climbed out naked from the waist down, too lazy to dress fully. The cold hit him like a slap. He left the driver's door open, didn't want to wake her by slamming it, and walked 10 steps into the brush, steam rising from his skin. The forest was darker than usual, the sky already bruising toward evening. He aimed at a fallen log, sighing with relief. He never heard the bear. It came from the downhill side, silent on the needles until the last second. A low huff, almost conversational, was the only warning. Mike turned his head and saw it, a grizzly, silver-tipped and massive, close enough that he could smell its wet fur and the meat on its breath. The bear had been feeding on a winter-killed elk nearby. The affair had parked right in its path. Mike's mouth opened, but no sound came. He took one stumbling step back, urine still arcing. The bear charged. The first swipe caught him across the chest, claws punching through skin and muscle like hooks through wet paper. 4 parallel gashes opened from collarbone to belly. He screamed. Then, a raw animal sound that echoed off the trees. The bear rose on hind legs, towering, and brought both paws down. One raked his thigh, shredding denim and flesh. The other caught lower. There was no clean rip, no cinematic movement. The claws found purchase, tore sideways, and the most vulnerable part of him simply came away in a wet, red handful. Pain detonated, white, hot, impossible. Mike collapsed, clutching himself, blood pulsing between his fingers in thick ropes. Inside the SUV, Sarah jolted awake at the scream. She sat up, clutching the blanket to her chest, and saw through the open door Mike on his knees 20 feet away, the bear standing over him like a dark monument. The animal lowered its head and bit once, casually, into his shoulder. Bone cracked. Mike's second scream thinned into a bubbling gurgle. Sarah's hand found the door handle on her side, but she froze. Any movement, any sound, and the bear would turn. She watched, helpless, as it dragged Mike backward into the brush by the ruined shoulder. Branches snapped. The screaming stopped abruptly. The bear did not roar. It simply took what it wanted and vanished into the trees, leaving a wide red trail across the frost. Sarah sat motionless for minutes or hours, she never knew. When she finally crept out, barefoot on cold gravel, the air reeked of blood and pine sap. Mike's lower body lay separate from the rest, pale and obscene in the failing light. She did not scream. She dressed in silence, started the engine, and drove away without closing his door. The bear's tracks crossed the parking lot behind her, already filling with the first light snow of the season. No one ever found enough of Mike to bury whole. Rangers called it a predatory attack. Rare, but not unheard of, this close to Yellowstone. Sarah told the investigators she'd been hiking alone and stumbled on the scene afterward. At night, though, she still hears that single huff of breath, the bear's calm announcement, followed by the wet, intimate sounds of claws doing their ancient work. She never goes near the forest again. And she never forgives herself for not closing the door.